Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CoculesNation. My name is Secret Agent Nico Cocules. I'm the founder and the director for Cocules Media and the CoculesNation. I'll do this picture of Chiyoda Lake. Now, we got this comment recently, of which Sokyo had notified me about, requesting some help with hardening, and specifically regarding the Chris Titus Tech script. Now, let's actually head to GitHub. Secure Linux. This is what I'm talking about. Let's actually go ahead and do the secure.sh here. And what you basically do, you set a few UFW rules. Some of the more common TCP port numbers, 22 is limited, 80 and 443 are allowed. You deny incoming traffic, allow outgoing traffic, and you basically enable UFW, of which I do have UFW. You have here some sysctl commands, and then you need to grab the jail.local, which is this. This is the default jail.local. You then have to copy it over to etc and fail to ban, put in that jail, then you enable and start fail to ban. Then of course you'll go ahead and do a netstat and pull these shenanigans off. That's basically how you do this particular package here. However, this is actually pretty old. Though this is actually, the newest version is 2 years ago. Last month, he just apparently loaded the patch modules and whatnot. That's from last month, though. I'm not entirely sure about that. But that doesn't matter. However, I have not been using this particular script as of late. That's not been the case. Instead, I'll go into this privacy.sexy app image. We'll just run this once. And this is apparently a better option, or maybe you can just combine the two of them. So first, let's do some privacy cleanup. We can clear, say, system and kernel usage data, general D, all that stuff, including Zeitgeist. You can clear the package manager data, but apparently I don't have any of that, so that doesn't apply to me. Shared caches. That can all be completely removed. You can clear global temporary files. Now for data collection, you can disable the Arch Linux telemetry, which in this case will be PKG stats, which is opt-in. It's an opt-in sort of thing, but you can revert that if needed. You can disable Zeitgeist activity logging, connectivity checks, which will break a captive portal. That's okay. And I think that should be it. You can configure some programs, like for example, you can disable all the Visual Studio Code data collection, but I don't have that. You can configure Firefox to harden privacy. You can disable telemetry. You can disable the Pioneer program and the phishing protection, which will decrease security. However, it's actually going to help with your privacy. And then of course you can disable connection tests as well, which will break automatic Wi-Fi login. You can disable some Python history, .NET telemetry, you can turn that off. And if you have PowerShell, you can actually disable its core telemetry. So that's not much if you think about it. But I will save this and replace that. Then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll go here into my downloads. This is why I have it. We'll go ahead and make this to where anybody can run this sucker. However, I am going to go ahead and copy the path. We'll do sudo and that. Oh, what do I have here? I have doas again. I did go ahead and install doas on the machine before, but since I do not have Veracrypt right now, and plus it requires sudo, I got rid of Veracrypt so I could use doas. And I had a seemingly pretty good type deal. All of this stuff has actually been enabled to false and yada yada yada. All this type of stuff has been done like so. I don't have even Zeitgeist right now. I don't know what the Zeitgeist thing is all about, but that can be done too. Now, I should have I've got the jail.local. I do have that. I don't even have the Titus script. That's okay. But if I were to run the Titus script alongside this one, oh boy, do you already have hardened privacy. At least, you've hardened your Linux machine. But wait, there's more to that. Way more. Let's go back into the privacy.sexy app image, run that sucker once. And you can do this for the other operating systems. You can do this for Mac, some privacy cleanup. You can, of course, clear system and app logs, browser history, iOS usage data can be cleared. You can empty trash on all volumes, DNS cache, all that. Program configuration. Of course, you can do a lot of this. This and this, for example, .NET Core, right? You can configure the OS to, well, configure Siri like so. You can do the spell correction, remote Apple events. Basically, all of this stuff you can do. Let's actually just turn all this stuff on because, geez. And then, of course, we have the remote desktop, which we'll turn that off. Security improvements, you can actually configure the firewall itself. You can enable a protective screensaver. You can do guest account disabling, but you might not want that. You can disable unauthorized connections. All of that should be fine. Printer sharing is disabled, and captive portal detection by default. Privacy over security, file quarantine. This will track download of files and warnings. Gatekeeper can also be disabled here. Automatic updates and library validation can also be disabled because that can be a little problematic if you don't know what you're doing. But you get the idea. Now let's do this with Windows, or what I should say, Winblows. So let's go ahead and actually do a privacy cleanup here on that. Whoa. Okay. If I did all, what are we looking at here? We clear all the recent activity, including DirectX recent app history, all the quick access stuff, all this stuff, third-party application data, including the privacy sexy data that can also be bye-byed. You can clear your browser history, including Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, and Safari. Safari on Windows, interesting. You can clear all the temporary Windows files like so. You can clear the logs and the caches. This would definitely be recommended alongside the Chris Titus WinUtil application, which I would not mind testing out soon. Oh wait, that's Windows. Never mind, I'll keep using Linux. You can remove the default zero user, which is apparently controversial. It's from underground wires, huh? That's interesting. You can remove whatever the field this is. This is unnecessary. You can remove the product keys from the registry. You can clear the backup volumes. Then a whole bunch of things, including previous Windows installations, because apparently that seems to be the case. You got OS data collection, and there is a lot you can do here. But thankfully, the WinUtil can also do the same thing, including recall disabling, because, yeah, precall or recall has been baked in. You can configure some programs like NVIDIA, VS Code. Actually, that's just VS Code here, Microsoft Office. You can configure the browsers, Edge, IE, Chrome, and Firefox, obviously. Google backend auto updates, Adobe background auto updates, nope. Dropbox, nope. Media player data collection, why do you need to collect data? Razer Game Scanner Service, that's been disabled. CCleaner is also disabled. Logitech Game Registry. Security improvements, all of this, you can actually do that. Tracking hosts, you can block all of this, including third-party hosts like Dropbox and Spotify Live Tiles. Privacy over security, you can disable Defender, which apparently that can be bad news. With Defender, some malfunctions. You might want to be careful about that one. Automatic updates, you can disable all that stuff permanently, mind you. Yeah, this is a permanent disabling of the updates. Well, at least the automatic stuff. That's fine. UI for privacy, so you can do a butt ton of this stuff. You can remove a lot of bloatware, removing Xbox, Edge, OneDrive, Windows apps, widgets, Copilot, non-essential services. All of these are not essential for you. So this could actually be pretty good. I should definitely send this over to one of my folks. But I do Linux, so that's not really much. If I did all of them though, it's not recommended for daily use, but I can go ahead and just do the strict one. So we do have quite a bit. That, however, I think should do it for this video. Thank you and good night.